Here on Talksport 2, will we find out any more about the playoff picture as Sick play fifth this afternoon? It's Hull versus West Brom in the company of former Stoke striker Chris Iwelumo and Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon once again. And as you say, this is a really big game at the top of the Sky Bet Championship on the west bank of the River Humber here in Hull. Hull City, a side who for so long have been in the doldrums, bouncing between the Championship and League One. They've had ownership issues in recent years. There's been a real disconnect between the owners and the supporters, but that's all different now. Another big crowd here inside the MKM Stadium here today, facing a West Bromwich Albion side who will shortly be under new owners. And really the job that Carlos Corberán has done over the last couple of years has been highlighted by the financial issues he has had to deal with. He will hope that those have come to an end, and in the longer term his job may become easier, but in the short term it is all about locking down the playoff place for both of these clubs in the Championship. And following Coventry's defeat at home to Preston last night, Chris, it looks like 2 from 5 at the moment in the lower reaches of the playoffs. Of course, somebody could still come from the pack, maybe Sunderland if they sort themselves out, but it's incredibly tight. But a victory for either of these here today would just give them crucial breathing space.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it's all about. I think it's the old football cliche, Nigel. I think you can only take it one game at a time, you know, especially after both off the back of good form at the minute. So it's coming into this game, it's against a competitor, someone that's a rival that's going for the playoff place. So if anything, it's an easy motivational tool that the managers can use. You know, there's revenge that West Brom want to get as well. So there's a lot on this game, but this could be the catalyst to go into the business end of the campaign on a little bit of form as well, because both teams are ticking that box exactly.
Well, this stadium is a vibrant place once again. When we've come here in recent years, the upper tier of the main stand has been completely unused, such has been the lack of interest, but the fans are packed around us here at the back of the main stand. And Hull City, in their tiger stripes of amber and black, are about to get this game underway in the first half. Bright sunshine, but very chilly here in West Hull. And after a tumultuous game on the Talksport network on Friday night, when Leicester's lead at the top was cut by Leeds, it is all about the playoff chase on the home of the EFL. Talksport 2 here on a Saturday lunchtime. It is the perfect start to your footballing Saturday, a game which really matters, but so many at this stage of the season seem to matter in the Sky Bet Championship, and this certainly does here today. A reminder of the teams again: Hull, Allsop in goal, Coyle, Jones, Greaves and Giles the back four, Philogene, Seri and the incoming Morton in midfield, with Regan Slater dropping to the bench, Zarari, Carvalho and Omer in attack, as a West Bromwich Albion player is almost dragged to the turf in front of us, slides along the playing surface here, which is rather bare in patches, Mikey Johnston, but no free kick given. The Albion team: Palmer in goal, Furlong, Kipra, Peters and Townsend, their back four. 3 changes in total, which include Yakuzlu coming into midfield alongside Mowat. Wallace will be moved forward to be the lone striker in the absence of Vyman, who was on the bench. Swift also drops out, with Dian Garner and Johnson coming in as the wide players.
Well, Nigel, I'm looking at this now. We've only been playing a couple of minutes, and this is the first that West Brom have been in possession of the ball. I think Hull, straight from the kick-off, go back to the centre-backs, very, very patient, use Ryan Allsop, the goalkeeper, as well, and they're just comfortable in possession, no matter how well West Brom, and they are pressing very, very well. You just play through it, composed, bravery, one-touch, two-touch football. So West Brom, they have to be switched on and capitalise.
And it's an absolutely perfect day for football here on Humberside. The Albion fans behind the goal away to our left are having to shield their eyes in the face of that low sun, but it's cold but not too chilly, and thankfully after a week of torrential showers the rain has gone for now. Clear blue skies overhead.
So perfect for you then to do your job commentating, because to play out there, a little bit of rain makes it sweeter. I think perfect conditions.
Yeah, but the amount of rain we've had this week, I mean, I walked across a couple of park pitches yesterday to walk the dog, and it was like walking through a swamp, and sadly a number of grassroots games may be called off this weekend, but no problem here. Although the pitch is rather mottled in places, we can clearly see the rugby lines. Of course, Hull FC share this stadium with Hull City. They had a thumping home defeat against their local rivals Hull KR in the opening match of Super League, live on Talksport 2 last week. But I can't imagine that one rugby league game, Chris, has caused this amount of damage to the pitch. We were at Sheffield Wednesday a couple of weeks ago. That pitch is poor, and this pitch isn't too far behind.
Well, it's the time of the year as well. It is always very, very difficult with the amount of games that's on it as well. I'm looking at the way that West Brom was set up with Jed Wallace, and I think you lose a lot with having Jed Wallace as a top out-and-out striker, because he's, as a wide man, he puts the ball right in the money. But in that little moment of play there, he drops so deep. You then have Tom Fellows and Michael Johnson going as a striking pair. So it's all about intelligence. Is that the opportunity for them to get forward? And that front four is so important to the way that West Brom play, especially in possession.
It's back towards Allsop, and now Jean-Michael Seri, who came out before kick-off to a great reception, the new African champion with the Ivory Coast. At the base of the Hull City midfield, eyebrows were certainly raised when he arrived here from Fulham, having got promotion at the start of last season. One of a number of players brought in by the new owner at the time, Archon Oyala. Of course, Shota Avaladze was the coach then. It was a poor start under the Georgian. He was quickly sacked, and Liam Rosenior has come in, and what a job he has done. Of course, he was briefly in charge of Derby County as the interim. He was replaced by Wayne Rooney. He ended up at Hull City, and in the end, he has done one of the jobs in the Championship so far this season. Of course, it was Paul Warne who eventually came in League One to replace him at Derby, but he stepped back to one of his former clubs, stepped up to the Championship, and he's a progressive manager. That's what you want to see.
No, exactly. And I think, like you say, it's all about man management. I think he's come in, he's impressed the owner here, and then I think, he's had a few appearances on the Talksport shows and says he's surpassed all expectation. I think that he was impressive, but what he does, he has a foothold and control over many facets in this football club, and they're all aiming and pulling in the right direction, which is outstanding. See, look at this place. This place is rocking with the football that they're seeing as well.
Nearly 5 minutes played, 0-0 here at the MKM Stadium on Talksport 2. Albion beginning this game a point ahead of Hull in the playoff places. And of course, Preston's victory 3-0 at Coventry last night has really tightened things up. Over on Talksport, we heard Leeds with that late comeback beat Leicester. So the top of the table as it stands, Leicester 78, Leeds 72, Ipswich 69. They play later on today, as do Southampton. They're on 67 following their loss to Hull on Tuesday. Then Albion 55, Hull 54, just outside the playoffs. Preston 52, Coventry 51, and Norwich, who play later on today, 51. Then there's a 4-point gap to Sunderland, and it will take something from one of the clubs beneath the current top 9 to really come into the mix between now and the end of the season. But it's the Championship, so you never know. Sunderland had a late run last season, and eventually that was enough for them, as Albion try and build on the far side with Kipra. Long diagonal ball from him, but it's rather lofted, so it doesn't find Townsend. It's cut out by Coyle, whose one goal this season came in the 3-1 victory for West Brom at the Hawthorns. And Albion have won 7 of the previous 8 meetings, although Hull did win here 2-0 last season. I was here for that game when Benjamin Tete scored his only goal for Hull City, as Alex Palmer takes a chance. Bit of a bob and weave outside his penalty area, but manages to evade Umur, but then hammers the ball straight out of play for a throw into Hull.
Yeah, that's the way I think that they've got to do it. In possession, West Brom, if it's centre-backs, if it's Kipre or Peters, and even Palmer, I think the way that Hull go hunting, the full outfield, the 10 outfield players are all very, very compact, and they're shuffling across, moving forward, they drop together, very, very well drilled, and that's where you're going to get joy when you've got that quality of distribution. You can find Townsend or Furlong, because I've got to say, I think Fellows and Johnson, they come in inside and leave a lot of room down the channels, so that's how you can hurt this Hull side.
And Hull do well to win it back in the central area once again, but it was Seri who was pulled to the ground, and Stephen Martin, the referee, has given a free kick to Hull midway inside the Albion half. 7 minutes played here on a bright, sunny, almost early spring-like day, and it's Hull 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. the big games coming up later on, which you can follow on Game Day Live over on Talksport with Adrian Durham in the playoff and promotion race. Norwich going to Blackburn, Ipswich at home to Birmingham, and Southampton also playing Millwall as well. Iwelumo heads the free kick away inside the penalty area, nodded back in field, then a big boot upfield from Kipra, which is up rather than away. Morton was underneath it, tries to guide it back towards the edge of the penalty area, but it's cut out by Iwelumo, and now Furlong with the early ball forward down the Albion right, looking for the pace of Fellows, but it's cut out on the far side by Giles, one of a number of decent looking loan signings made by Hull in January, and Albion will have a throw in on the far side.
Yeah, that loan market is it's important you make the right signings, but all the players that Liam Rosenior has identified and brought in and fits the brand, fits the brand, the way that he wants to play. They've definitely hit the floor running.
And they have done really well in the market. It was all a bit chaotic when the new owner arrived with Shota Avaladze. They were signing players left, right and centre, and they looked to have been signed as a team of individuals rather than a team ethic, as Johnston uses his pace on this near side. Early cross into the penalty area, looking for Swift. Nodded away, though, well at the near post by Greaves, and Albion will have a throw-in, but maybe the lack of an authentic centre-forward costing West Bromwich Albion there.
Yeah, it was excellent, though. Excellent down this left-hand side from West Brom. Townsend linking up with Johnson. Excellent way to pass, and then it was a running race. And I've got to say, Johnson, Alfie Jones was miles off it, wasn't he? It's just that end product, and you're spot on. I think it's having that understanding with being a wide man, looking at what you've got to hit. Jed Wallace, okay, yeah, he's a very intelligent footballer, works his socks off, but you want to have that presence in there. The ball wasn't a bad one, but you need more options than that when you're Michael Johnson and you've got your head up looking inside.
Well, we were talking downstairs to Tony Brown, the legendary former West Bromwich Albion player, in the press room, and he said people have been criticising Jed Wallace, only 3 assists so far this season as a wide player, as Fellows chases a long ball forward for Albion up towards the edge of the penalty area. We'll go back to that point. Now Johnson coming in field onto the right foot. The Celtic loanee encouraged to shoot, but he meanders across the penalty area into the sunshine on the far side to find Furlong. Furlong is quickly closed down by Zerari, another loan signing, and the challenge comes in from the Burnley man, and Greaves has the opportunity to bring the ball clear, and it's worked very neat and tidy there by Hull on the far side until the challenge comes in from Iwelumo, and it will be a throw-in to Hull. And Wallace has been putting plenty of decent balls into the penalty area. If they had a Bob Taylor, a Jeff Horsfield, a Chris Iwelumo in the middle, his numbers may look a bit better.
Yeah, I've got to say I'd love to play with Jed Wallace, because he puts the ball right on the money time after time. Works very, very hard for the side as well. He's captain for a reason. He leads by example. He must organise, communicate, put the demands on the players around him as well. But just an all-round good technical player. But what I'm seeing just now, like we just seen Tom Fellows was the furthest man forward. Good hold-up play, little set to Michael Johnson. He should have took the shot. I don't know why he's not. He's got that quality about him. 23 yards from goal, a few bodies in front, just finds that bottom corner, just bends it round the last defender. He's got that quality. Don't turn that down. But West Brom are getting a little bit of foothold in the game. Hull, I've got to say, a little bit guilty of overplaying in their own defensive third. Now they've got to pick their moments because they can go forward with quality and with pace.
And Johnson, one of a number of young players who came to prominence at Celtic around the same time, and he's 24 years of age now, but you still think of him as a precocious youngster, but he's not quite kicked on at Celtic.
No, and it's difficult. You look at the players, the competition that he's got.
When you got players like Furuhashi up against you.
Yeah, Maeda, I could go through a list, but when you get your opportunity, he's done well there.
Palmer outside the penalty area, doing well to head the ball away, because Fabio Carvalho was closing in on him very quickly, and Carvalho, the Liverpool loanee, scored an excellent goal at Southampton on Tuesday. Southampton won't regard it as excellent. It was an opportunity given to them by some rather hapless passing out from Southampton, but it was the whole pressing which led to the opportunity which was taken by the youngster.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. I think without the ball they are very, very aggressive on the front foot, but if I'm Alex Palmer, then I'm having a proper go at my centre backs, because there's not enough pace on the ball. It's not gonna make it, so deal with it. Oh yeah, I'll come out and I'll sweep up when I have to, but he's in a head duel there with Carvalho. It can't happen, Nigel.
And now Seri inside the centre circle, back towards Ryan Giles. And the transfer business was rather haphazard when there was the change of ownership. But you look at the players they brought in during January: Sarari, Carvalho, Giles, Sharp. Good players to have at this level, variety of experience and also club experiences so far. But players like Ryan Giles, brought to play in the Premier League, it will happen for them eventually, but they brought players in with plenty of miles on the clock, and good miles as well in the Championship.
Yeah, and that's what's important. Know exactly what the league's about, what the expectations are, have the Championship minutes in the legs, and like you say, it's so competitive, Nigel. You have to be up, you have to be in physical shape, you have to have that mental strength as well, because the games come thick and fast. But after a defeat, you have to get back on the horse and go and win the next game. It's just what the Championship throws at you season in, season out. 13
minutes play, goalless here at the MKM Stadium. Neither goalkeeper has really had a shot to save so far in the game, and maybe that's symptomatic of two teams playing without authentic centre forwards. And you're listening to this game in the EFL Championship on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order Muck Delivery on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Johnson coming forward again for Albion on this near side, but the challenge comes in from Philogene, a player who has really come to prominence this season, having left Aston Villa, who was fighting relegation with Cardiff for much of last season. But he does have a real talent, and he's very strong in terms of goal scoring, left or right. As Albion come forward again with Fellows on the far side, infield to Diangana. He lets fly left-footed, but it was quickly closed down, and it was always passing wide of Ryan Alsop's near post.
I like it. I think Tom Fellows, fantastic player as well, covers a lot of distance, but good awareness. The way to pass to Diangana, he knew exactly what he wanted to do, Nigel. The little flick up with the first touch, and then he takes it on the volley with the second. I've got to say, I think it has to be a wonder strike to beat out Ryan Alsop, but I don't mind him taking it on.
Both teams looking to play out from the back here, and giving their fans kittens at times.
But this, and I think this is the importance of it. You know, if that's the way Liam Rosinho wants his team to play. And when I played under Javranko Zola at Watford, it was one of the things that he said. He says, "It's my fault if we concede from it. I'll take the blame. I'm going to go out and I'll protect you. This is what I want now." And he went through it, training after training on the grass. He implemented that. We weren't good enough to do it, so he brought in about 13 players from Udinese, remember, on the 31st of August, and they just went out and done it without a whim.
But you suspect that was always going to happen anyway. Down the line now from Philogene, good ball as well to pick out Carvalho in space down the right-hand side of the penalty area. He cuts it back, and the shot in the end is blocked. It was Philogene who let fly. Albion will try and break. And it's Wallace on the far side, quickly forward towards Fellows, and Fellows has stepped in and got there before Giles. He then comes in field, but again he's just held up. It was Seri who got a crucial boot in, and Fellows will have to go all the way back towards Palmer, the Albion keeper, who was just outside his penalty area. But Ryan Giles is a very offensive fullback, and Fellows may be able to exploit the room he leaves in behind. But here is Seri coming forward at the other end, but it's quickly cut out by Mowat, and it's back with Kipra.
Yeah, a little bit scrappy there from West Brom. I've got to say, excellent play from Fellows originally, and I could see that he's overstretched there and just got that little touch in front of Giles, but kept possession of the ball, but was kind of off balance. If he can get his bearing and footing again, he has that quality that he can find Johnson out on the opposite side. He went back and it was a little bit scrappy, but I think that's how you can kind of punish this whole side, because you're spot on, Nigel. I think the full-backs bomb forward, leave those holes in behind, but watch Hull City as soon as they lose possession, that 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds bomb, they're at it, 5-6 players.
Been given away by Hull. Here is Johnson coming forward now. Diangana peels away to the left. Johnson may exploit the space, bobs and weaves into the penalty area, but drives the shot left-footed across the face of goal wide, and he had 3 players in support.
Well, it just shows the quality of Michael Johnson there. You know, he's driving forward, manipulating the ball. I think he turned Jacob Greaves inside out there, came inside. The only thing he didn't do is work the goalkeeper. He's in the 18-yard box. He has to hit the target there. If Ryan Allsop has an amazing save, then yeah, brilliant. But what I love to see, Jed Wallace goes up, pats him on the back straight away as a captain. You know what I mean? I'm pleased with you. Keep doing it. Bring that to the table.
Now an opportunity for Olmur to bring it forward for Hull. The Turkish international signed from Trabzonspor, quickly finding Philogene now. Philogene with a high cross into the penalty area, and again it's headed up in the air by Furlong. It'll be recovered at the far post, and it's played back in field towards Cavalli on the edge of the penalty area. Now Philogene, the shot from him right foot, it takes a deflection and will spin behind for the game's first quarter with 18 minutes played.
Yeah, I've got to say good defending in the end. I've got to say Daniel Furlong, for me, it's a risk, isn't it? The ball comes in. I'm expecting Alex Palmer to communicate. He can just chest it into his hands and the goalkeeper can come out and claim. As soon as he flicks it up in the air, Zaroury gets his body in between ball and man, and then Furlong goes kind of into the back of him. A little bit of savvy about him. Go to ground, it's a penalty kick. You know, so again, they've defended well, got the block. Now they have to defend the corner.
Corner swirled in towards the near post, but stooping to head the ball away was Furlong, and it gets the distance, and it's back towards Louis Coyle inside the centre circle. And in the end, Seri will go all the way back to Ryan Allsop, the former West Bromwich Albion youngster. He was played in every single division during his career. Poor defensive header from Furlong, straight towards Carvalho, who goes down on the edge of the penalty area.
Free kick, Nigel.
Challenged by Iwelumo, but nothing given.
It's a shocking decision from the referee, and he's right up to speed as well. You know, I think Martin, the referee there, he's got to give it. You know, it's a poor. Kipri comes in, takes him out the game whatsoever, no contact with the ball.
Now Fellows moving into the penalty area down the right for Albion, in towards Swift with a shot off the crossbar. The ball bounces back over its head, returned by Mowat, and it's an excellent save by Allsop, and there's the escape for Hull City. Swift with the ball into the penalty area, Wallace hitting the crossbar, and then an excellent save from Allsop to deny Mowat on the rebound.
Well, Fellows again, isn't he? He's just outstanding talent. Comes in, gets his head up, got the composure. He's in the 18-yard box, coming in from the right flank, and then he just picks Swift out. And what I have to say, he's guilty of connecting too well with it. If the connection isn't as good, it sneaks into the back of the goal there, into the net. You know, it's off the bar, but he's connected too well with it. He's just trying to get some sort of contact on the ball from Fellows.
Played out by Allsop, it's quickly cut out by Kipra, and Albion have plenty of players forward here. Johnson again, looking to attack down the left-hand side. Coming back to make the challenge was Philogene, and in the end, the bump he gives Johnson is sufficient for Coyle to bring the ball clear, but Albion have got Hull penned in at the moment, deep inside their own penalty area, so it's lofted away by Jones. High to the far side to pick out Giles. Fellows comes back to make the challenge, but Hull still have the opportunity to keep things moving here. Zorari has been caught just inside the Hull half by Iwelumo, and it will be a free kick for the home side with 20 minutes played. 0-0, but Albion so close to the opening goal there on two occasions.
Well, you heard that challenge from Iwelumo on Zaroury. I think he got the ball, but he also got the player as well. I think it is a free kick, although I've seen some of them being let go. But yeah, that was a real opportunity for West Brom.
Now Philogene slips it into the penalty area, looking for Carvalho again. Excellent defensive challenge though by Kipra, right on the edge of the box. Had to time that perfectly and did. Seri heads it forward now. It's flicked on towards Olmur, but it's beyond him, and Palmer this time keeps it simple. Hammers it downfield, two bounces all the way through towards Ryan Allsop at the other end. Don't forget, plenty of football coming up. 1 o'clock start for Game Day Live over on Talksport with Adrian Durham, Ray Parler, Troy Deeney and Mickey Gray today with all the goals as they go in. Here at 3 o'clock on Talksport 2, the Midlands Derby, Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest with Ian Danta and Dean Ashton. The sort of game that Hugh Johns used to commentate on back in the day. And then at 8 o'clock over on Talksport, it is Arsenal against Newcastle with Faye Carruthers, Sam Matterface and Scott Minto. Tomorrow we have the Carabao Cup final, 3 o'clock start, Chelsea against Liverpool with Adrian Sam and Stuart Pearce. Then on Monday night we start our coverage of the 5th round of the FA Cup with Coventry against Maidstone here on Talksport 2. West Ham Brentford in the Premier League is over on Talksport. Then on Tuesday night, 5 o'clock start here on 2 for England women against Italy women. 7-2 victory over Austria last night. That's followed by Blackburn against Newcastle at 7:45. Luton against Manchester City will be over on Talksport at 8 o'clock. Then on Wednesday, Chelsea against Leeds on Talksport 2 at 7:30. Looking forward to that as Seri brings it forward now for Hull, wide towards the far side, and the challenge comes in from Diangana, but then the shot is fired in from the edge of the penalty area, and it's blocked by Palmer. It was Zarari who hit it, and in the end it's guarded behind by Furlong for a corner.
Well, it's an excellent strike from Zaruri. You know, he's got an eye for goal. Fantastic connection with it as well. Alex Palmer, good strong save, and the big thing about the save as well, it goes out wide. It's not back into that congested area where there's offensive players coming onto it.
The corner's not being cleared. It's played back in by Greaves towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and in the end Albion will clear. Townsend nods it forward to this near side. Not sure what Wallace was trying to do. I think he was trying to flick the ball on in midair to Diangana, but he makes no contact, and it's all the way back towards Ryan Alsop. And to continue and conclude our coverage of the FA Cup on Wednesday night on Talksport, exclusive to Talksport on national radio, it is Forest against Manchester United. And then on Friday, big game in the Championship once again. West Brom were following the Baggies again. They're at home to Coventry on Talksport 2, and that is a huge game. You'll be there as well, Chris.
Yeah, looking forward
Whatever
to
happens here, that is a 6-pointer.
They're all, yeah, like you say, it's the business end. There's not many games that aren't worth something, no matter where you are in the table, Nigel.
Now, Omar, scampering winger for Hull, signed from Trabzonspor, finds Philogene, and there are so many technically gifted players in this Hull team now. Liam Rosenior, who of course was a player at Hull City. His only Premier League goal came against West Brom, also played in the Cup final a decade ago. And we've seen he is a manager who does have long-term views, wants his team to play a certain way, and now they're bearing the fruit of patience.
Well, you said it there. There's a lot of quality, and I mean good individuals, but as a collective, there's a real understanding between them as well. And I think that says a lot for the manager. He knows exactly how he wants to play. He knows exactly what he needs. He's brought those players in. He's identified them, but he's also implemented that unity as well. Because if they're not doing it, this place isn't bouncing the way that it is. The fans obviously see something in their team, in their manager.
Fellows in pursuit of another long ball forward on the far side. It's guided back to Alsop. In contrast, West Brom are a seasoned team. Tom Fellows apart. They've got the oldest average age in starting 11s in the Championship this season. But you look at the Hull team at the moment. Giles 24, Zarari 23, Carvalho 21, Omar 24, Philogene 22, Morton 21. It is a young team, but it's a team growing up together in a harsh environment and often thriving in it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think that youth with quality, there's no fear there. There's energy, you know, intensity about it. But it's also he's always been a fantastic talker, Liam. You know, how he manages them as well. There'll be a respect thing there for each other and their manager.
Jones steps in before Swift, plays it back towards Alsop, who reverses the ball back towards his central defender, deep inside the penalty area, but he's got time to play it long downfield. But Peters rising above Omar, and here is Johnson, and now Yakuzlu, who spins away into that strip of sunshine on the far side, and Furlong. And now Fellows again with an opportunity to attack Giles inside the penalty area. Excellent looking cross in, but it's over the head of Wallace, and it's claimed one-handed by Alsop. And again, with a big bustling centre forward there, that would have been ideal for them.
Yeah, I was just going to say, back to your earlier point, you know, I think when you've got that quality of Johnson and Fellows and wide areas, or even Jed Wallace out there, you need a target, you need a presence, you need someone that's going to be aggressive and get in the end of those balls, because that was excellent quality from Fellows.
You may as well invert them and get them to cut inside and try a shot, because
I understand
they're good crosses in, but they're not finding anyone.
Well, I think that we'll see that in this game as well. You know, I think Carlos Corberán, every stone is every scenario the game can throw at you. These players are prepared for it, and I understand exactly what you're saying. They then come in, they take that shot, back post area, a lot of bodies running across the face of goalkeeper, makes it very difficult. But they're getting joy. There's balls coming into the 18-yard box. They just need to get more players in there on the end of it.
Well, he inherited a team at the bottom of the Championship when he arrived in the autumn of 2022, and despite the financial problems Albion were having to deal with, he has guided them close to the playoffs last season when they had a poor finish and missed out in the end, and they're on course for the top 6 once again. And now the new American owners will be coming in, should be finalised next week. He will hope there'll be more stability off the field, and he's got the opportunity to build on what he's achieved so far. And they're facing a whole team here today with 4 wins and 4 losses. They've alternated win-loss at home recently, but they've not lost back-to-back home games under Liam Rosenior since he arrived around the same time last season when Hull were towards the bottom of the table. As Philogene comes forward now, found by Carvalho on the overlap, is coiled down the right, but the cross into the penalty area was almost over the head of Palmer, but he just stretched an extra couple of inches and managed to palm the ball away.
Well, I've got to say it's an excellent little ball in. Alex Palmer there works ever so well.
Now Wallace has won the ball in a duel with Jones on the edge of the penalty area at the other end, but it's Philogene who comes all the way back, nudges Wallace off the ball, eventually scrambles it behind for a corner, and that says a good deal about your midfielders when Philogene must have sprinted 70 yards there to come back and make the challenge.
Well, it's a responsibility of the team, no matter what position you're in, you know, and that shows you the respect, that shows you the understanding, what they want, what the managers, the demands the managers putting on them, but to come back defensively, help your mate out and get the challenge in when it's needed. Yeah, it says a lot about the player.
Johnson will take the corner on this near side. 28 minutes played, 0-0 at the MKM Stadium on Talksport 2, the home of the EFL. And the corner from Johnson, high into the box, headed towards goal at the near post, and Furlong's header goes just wide, and Diangana, who was coming in at the back post, just unable to apply the finishing touch.
Well, it's an excellent ball in. I've got to say, there's pulling. Both players are looking at the referee and asking for something there. Furlong gets a little touch, and Diangana, it's so hard. He's gambled. He's there. He's trying to get some sort of connection, but he just a whisk. He couldn't get that final contact.
Liam Rosenior has drawn around a third of his games in charge so far. 24 wins, 20 draws, 17 defeats. Many of those came last season when he was stabilising things. They eventually finished 15th in the Championship, but well clear of trouble. But their current run is 5 wins in 6 after 4 losses in 5, which really sums up life in the Championship, as Morton makes the run forward from midfield on this near side, but Townsend saw him coming and clears. Now Johnson does well to keep the ball in play, but it's quickly won back by Morton, and Carvalho finds Omor. And there are so many players buzzing around the Hull midfield of a similar stature and a similar quality in Omor, Philogene, Carvalho and Zerari, and they're very difficult for Albion to track. They've got 2 holding midfielders, but they're not sure who to pick up at the moment, as it's played wide to the far side again by Carvalho. The cross into the penalty area from the left, but this time Palmer is able to claim on the ground 4 yards out, and it just needed somebody there making that run across to the near post. But Hull, like West Brom, don't have that sort of player in the team at the moment.
Yeah, but like there, you're talking about Amur and Carvalho there. They both dropped deep. They actually linked up probably in the middle of the West Brom half, so when the ball goes out to Giles on that left hand side and comes in, well, who's going to be there? Do you expect then Philogene to break his neck from the right hand side to get across the face of Alex Palmer? You know, it's a long distance, and Giles just took one touch, the ball came in straight away, as you'd expect from any wide man. So I think they've got to understand, Umur and Carvalho, that they can't both do the same role. If one goes short, the other one has to stay long.
Well, they're missing Liam Delap at the moment, Rory's son, on loan from Manchester City. He's on the injured list. They do have Billy Sharp on the bench, now 38 years of age. Of course, he won't do too many 90 minutes for Hull City, but I'm sure we'll see him at some stage if required today. With 31.5 minutes played here on Talksport 2, it is Hull City 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. And the rainbow ball is being used here once again today, the new official match ball from the EFL that carries the iconic rainbow flag, featuring in 76 games across the EFL. Last weekend and this weekend, the rainbow ball, a symbol of the sport's solidarity with the LGBTQ and diversity and inclusivity. As Hull try and build on this near side, but the ball has gone behind, and it will be a goal kick. And there's no doubt that Ryan Alsop has been the busier of the two goalkeepers so far. There have been one or two moments for Alex Palmer outside the penalty area, having to deal with the high press. But with 12 and a half minutes to play in the first half, Carlos Corberán will be fairly satisfied with the way his team have managed to snuff out Hull's attacking talent. And they are a team who have done well defensively. 15 clean sheets in 33 games this season, including that 3-0 victory at Plymouth on Tuesday. 5 1-0 wins as well, which of course are always valuable in the Championship.
Yeah, it says a lot about a side, consistently and getting those 1-0 wins, defend well, very organised with and without the ball, but they've got quality, they can hurt you, and he will be the happier of both managers, I think, even though I think Hull have really gave a good account of himself and played the way that their manager wants them to play. He wants more chances in that attacking third.
Albion did win at Home Park on Tuesday, but 36 of their 55 points have come at the Hawthorns. In contrast, Hull have had more wins, more points and more goals away from home. They've not done too badly here, 7 wins, 4 draws and 5 losses, but only Leicester have won more away games this season. They've been victorious 9 times on the road. And of course 3 successive away victories, all 2-1 at Rotherham, Huddersfield and notably Southampton, their first win on the South Coast since 1951 on Tuesday night. Now Carvalho's got the opportunity to be expansive and play it wide towards the far side. Zerari's first time cross into the penalty area was deflected by Furlong, guarded behind by Peters, but again it was a cross to nothing.
Yeah, it was a wrong decision for me from Zerari there. I think take his first touch.
Carvalho now fires in the shot. Oh, what a goal! Fabio Carvalho with another moment to remember for Hull City. He let fly from the edge of the penalty area and Alex Palmer simply never saw it. He is a special talent and he is lighting up the Sky Bet Championship for Hull City, and they lead West Bromwich Albion by a goal to 0.
It's an excellent strike, isn't it? We're sitting talking about players trying to get across, the goalkeeper be in the box. When you're 23 yards out on the angle, you don't have to when you've got that quality. Put everything through it, struck it well. I've got to say, Alex Palmer, I thought he was diving for it. There was that much pace in the ball. The ball had already hit the back of the net before he's got his arms up. What a strike that is from Carvalho. And like you say, I think it's probably been a little bit against the run of play. I think West Brom have been the better side, but when you've got quality like Hull have shown consistently in that attacking area, what a strike, Nigel.
Well, the MKM Stadium is bouncing once again. Not far short of a sellout here once again today. They've been averaging 21,500 here this season. It was less than 18,000 last season. The fans who were disenchanted under the previous ownership have certainly come back to this club under Archon Ojala. And with players like that doing that, it is no wonder as Palmer clears the ball away again. There'll be no clean sheet for West Bromwich Albion here today, with Hull City leading by a goal to 0 10 minutes before half time. And I think Palmer was called out by the pace of the shot, but defensively I'm sure Fabio Carvalho will be, or rather Carlos Corberán will be wondering why Fabio Carvalho had so much room on the edge of the area.
Well, they took the shoulder very, very quickly, Nigel, and that's what I'm saying. So as West Brom, Alex Palmer, you set up normally as a corner. As soon as they take it quick and they go out, when Carvalho received the ball, so maybe he's a little bit unsighted there as well, Alex Palmer, because there's defensive bodies going out to try and close Carvalho down, because for the ball to get past him, it was struck very well, but you do expect your goalkeeper to get closer to it, so maybe unsighted.
Well, Fabio Carvalho was on loan at Leipzig at the first half of the season, barely featured in the Bundesliga, but you can imagine he's going to be a central character in the playoff race in the Championship between now and the end of the season. His third goal already for Hull City, scored as a result of a high press at Southampton on Tuesday, but that was all about individual talent and opportunism there from the Hull number 45 as Philogene gets the ball from Carvalho again. Seri, he sold Grieve short. He was quickly closed down on this near side by Mowat, but it will be a throw-in the end to Hull City. And Hull have climbed into the top 6 on 6 different occasions this season, and if they win today they'll be above Albion into 5th place, and crucially they'll go on to 57 points, and they would be 5 points clear of Preston, who are currently just outside the playoff zone, and they go to Preston next week. So there are some massive games next week, with West Brom at home to Coventry, live on Talksport 2 next Friday, and then Preston playing Hull. And this is a big game here today, and it's not over. Albion have shown they've got opportunities to create chances, if maybe not having the right personnel to take them. With 8 minutes to play in the first half, Morton slips it into the penalty area for Amor. Back towards Coyle again. He's quickly closed down, but Hull maintain possession, and it's all short passing crisply along the ground from Liam Rossini's team on a fairly bobbly playing surface. But if you've got players with a decent first touch, they can make light of that.
No, they've got it in abundance, haven't they? You know, you look at intelligent players that have a real understanding. You know, Philogene plays it into Amur, he plays it to Cavallo, then he makes that little run off. The way to pass in behind, just kept possession well. But what I want to see from them is that ball coming in the box when the opportunity presents itself to put a cross in, especially when they've got 3-4 bodies in the box, Nigel. You're talking about tippy-tappy shot football, end product. That's the whole point of keeping the ball, is to make sure that there's shots on target, crosses in the box and attempts at goal.
Now Peters plays it back again. We're just watching on the big screen the replay of the goal, and I thought initially it may have taken the deflection, but it was simply moving all over the place, and Palmer, I think, may have got a hand to it, but it just brushed some fairly desperate fingers on its way into the back of the net.
A lot of movement, wasn't there? A lot of movement on that ball. It was up and down, and yeah, very difficult for the goalkeeper.
Well, that rainbow ball was past him in a multicoloured flash, as it's picked up by Jones on this near side. 6 minutes to play in the first half on Talksport 2. Hull 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. And Giles on the far side for Hull, in the tiger stripes, and it's all the way back from Jacob Greaves towards Ryan Allsop. West Brom hit the bar before the goal, and Allsop also made an excellent save to keep out Alex Mowat, as Peters has to head the ball away. Yukuzlu on towards Diangana, who we've barely seen going forward so far for Albion, and I'm not sure it's the right balance on the right hand side with Diangana playing in behind Fellows. You almost need those on different sides of the pitch because they're trying to do the same job. Yeah,
I understand exactly what you're saying. I think it's just maybe it's something that Carlos Corberán, because Giles is bombing forward, he's trying to kind of maybe impact the way and style of Hull City to the detriment of his own attack.
Now Fellows coming forward now, almost found Wallace on the edge of the penalty area, but it was Coyle coming across to make the challenge, and it bobbles through towards Allsop once again. And we welcome listeners from Talksport to the MKM Stadium. Bright sunshine here, and a bright moment for the Hull City supporters. An excellent goal from Fabio Carvalho 10 minutes before half-time. A short corner played on their left-hand side, infield towards the Liverpool youngster, and he absolutely hammered it from the edge of the penalty area. It swirled all over the place beyond Alex Palmer. His third goal since arriving on loan from Anfield, and Chris Iwelumo, it was a real moment of quality.
Yeah, it was. You know, fantastic ability. The way that he's just received the ball, one thing in mind, the connection, the power in the strike was outstanding. I've got to say, Alex Palmer was unsighted, but it was in the back of the net. He tried to get a hand to it, a little bit of contact, but the movement on the strike itself was outstanding. Came against the run of play. I think West Brom have had their moments, caused a few issues in the attacking area, but just haven't capitalised, Nigel.
Albion do have a long throw on the far side, plenty of room out there for Furlong to hurl the ball in towards the near post, looking for Yukuzlu, but it's nodded behind by Greaves, and it will be a corner kick for West Brom, and they've already hit the crossbar in this game. An excellent cross in from Fellows down the right hand side, and it was Jed Wallace, who was playing as the false nine today, who hammered the ball against the crossbar from close range, and the rebound was volleyed in by Alex Mowat, and Ryan Allsop did well to beat that one out. But we'll just see this corner for our listeners over on Talksport, which will be taken by Swift. on the far side. An outswinger towards the near post. Furlong with the header, and he scored! Darnell Furlong with the downward header straight into the ground, and it reared up over the head of Ryan Alsop. Nothing that he could do, and it's a very rare goal from Darnell Furlong, but it was much needed for West Bromwich Albion. 2.5 minutes before half-time, an unlikely goal scorer, but it's Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1.
Well, like you say, you go and win the first contact. Darnell Furlong, he's got he's done it. He's made that little kind of slight touch. I've got to say, Ryan Alsop, you've got to work your feet better. There was no pace on it. It's bounced over him. He's actually kind of, I think he's anticipated going to the bottom end, and he's dived to it. He's got to do better as a goalkeeper, but it's always a concern. Every cross that's come into the box, West Brom are the one that's making that first contact, and then they're reacting to the second phase, and they have to be more aggressive defensively. Hull City, they've got the lead against the run of play. They still have to go out and defend well. Be aggressive when that ball comes into the box.
Well, Darnell Furlong finished that like Paul Furlong. Commentary continues on Talksport 2. It is Hull 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Well, we didn't expect the shot from far out from Fabio Carvalho to open the scoring. We certainly didn't expect Darnell Furlong to nod in a corner, but it's the second time he's won that ball.
Yeah, well, the first time it was Dean Garner that was trying to get in on the back post area from the Darnell Furlong flick. So has he, again, is that Carlos Cobran? He's changed it. Who's marking? Because he wins his aerial duels, Furlong. He is strong in the air. It's something that Liam Rossignol's definitely going to have to eradicate and put something a little bit more aggressive and stronger for that aerial duel.
Darnell Furlong's third goal of the season, and it's 1-1 at a time when Hull City seem to have a fairly firm grip on this game, as Seri plays it wide towards the far side. On the balance of play, though, I think 1-1 is probably a fair scoreline at the moment, because Albion created the better opportunities before the goal, which really came out of the blue. Yeah,
I have to agree with you. It doesn't always work like that. I think Liam Rossignol will be very, very disappointed. Changes the whole team talk. I think his team's been fluid when they're in possession. I think they're throwing so many bodies forward, especially in those full-back areas, that they are getting asked a few questions, but they were comfortable. They were comfortable after taking the lead, Nigel.
Corner with a cross in from the near side for Hull, their right. And a toe jabbed out by Connor Townsend to send the ball behind for a corner kick to Hull. And we have 15 seconds of normal time at the end of the first half. We've had neither medical team on, so I wouldn't imagine we'll have any more than a single minute of added time. And there will be just time for Olmo to take it. Indeed, 2 minutes of added time. I'm not quite sure where that's come from, but the corner in towards the near post, headed away though by Iwelumo, back towards Carvalho, who clips it in. The glancing header at the near post from Jones, and it's gone out on the far side for a throw into Hull City.
Yeah, again, it's an opportunity, isn't it? Alfie Jones gets that kind of first contact, just keeps it in the danger area. I'm just expecting a little bit more from Tyler Morton, so all good.
Jones on this near side for Hull City, and it's the Albion supporters we can hear at the moment. The home fans really stunned by that. They enjoyed the goal from Carvalho, but West Bromwich Albion need to show courage away from home, maybe more and more this season, particularly in the run-in, when 5 of their remaining 6 away games are against relegation strugglers, which looks great on paper, but you're going to be facing teams fighting for their lives, which creates some rather strange results at times.
Yes, you can look at it the positive side. I know what dressing room I'd rather be in, a team that's trying to kind of fight for a playoff place, or fighting for your lives down the bottom end. I've been in both, Nigel.
Zerari doing well on the left-hand side, but a good challenge coming in from the Albion scorer Furlong, and it will be a throw-in, or rather a corner for Hull City on the far side, which Anas Zerari, the Burnley low knee, will take, and it will be the in-swinger towards Morton, but it's Iwelumo who heads the ball away, and Wallace will scamper clear for Albion on the far side, but he's closed down by Seri, and it will be a throw into West Brom, and that should be that for what's been an entertaining first half on the whole. Both teams have created chances, 2 very different goals, but Hull City have shown their quality, but West Bromwich Albion have really shown their resilience. Fantastic opener from Fabio Carvalho, hammering the ball in from way outside the penalty area to give Hull the lead 10 minutes before half-time, but 2 minutes before the break, an in-swinging corner from West Bromwich Albion, headed down by Darnell Furlong, and it really reared up off the turf over the head of Ryan Alsop, whose feet were planted, gently floated into the back of the net to make it Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1 at half-time.
Thank you very much, Nigel Adderley there alongside former Wolves striker Chris Iwelumo. We'll dive into those two goals, two good finishes there in that game in just a second. Of course, don't forget, coming up as well, Nottingham Forest are at Aston Villa in our 3 p.m. exclusive kickoff in the Premier League. We'll be back in just a second here on EFL Game Day Live.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League. EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Fancy a Big Mac for the big match? Order McDelivery now on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points delivered too. 18 plus. Rewards account required. Participating restaurants. Subject to availability. Delivery fees and terms apply.
New baby next door. I remember that feeling. I've just the thing. Fry Tesco finest shiitake mushrooms till beautifully brown. Add them to soften leeks and shallots. Simmer with wine, then add fluffy dumplings. Fancy some stew?
Tesco finest shiitake mushrooms, hand-picked for a rich flavour. And now only £1.25 with your Tesco Club card or app. Food Love Stories, brought to you by Tesco. Regular price £1.75, majority of larger stores, ends 3rd of March. Club card or app required.
Drive to Survive is back.
To be a Formula 1 driver, you need to be able to switch yourself off from everything that is happening around you.
Is he ready? Physically, mentally?
Your position is under threat.
When you get into that car, the noise goes away.
Formula 1 Drive to Survive, now streaming only on Netflix.
In our March draws, you could win a share of our incredible £17.8 million prize pot. We have guaranteed winners every day, and to be in every draw, all you have to do is sign up for a monthly subscription of just £12. 70% of postcodes across Great Britain are already playing, so sign up your postcode before midnight on the 29th of February for the chance to win. Good things come knocking with People's Postcode Lottery. PPL manage lotteries on behalf of good causes. 18 plus conditions apply. Play responsibly. Not available in Northern Ireland.
At B&Q and TradePoint, get 3 for 2 on selected coloured emulsion and paint mixing. With brands like Dulux and Valspar, whatever the surface or space, we've got you covered for less. Shop in-store or online. You can do it. Exclusions apply. The value of every third item per single transaction in descending price order deducted ends 26th of February. See DIY.com.
The plant near the reception desk at Axel's Auto Care is loving life. That's because Barclaycard covers 50% of Axel's card reader rental fees for the whole year. So he can give 100% to other parts of his business, starting with a proper watering can. What's good for small business is good for everyone. Barclaycard Payments.
50% of card reader rental fees until 31st of December 2024 on select products. Apply by 30th of April. Application approval depends on financial circumstances and borrowing history. T's and C's apply.
McDelivery! You in?
Now that is what I need. Why didn't I think to order one? Been craving it all week. Right, now focus. What to have? I'd have a Big Mac, fries, and a dip. But what dip? Could dip them in a McFlurry, to be honest. Or am I too old to be doing that?
Nisha, the film's about to start.
Yeah, sorry, got distracted. I'm in.
There's nothing quite like a McDelivery. You in? At participating restaurants only. 18 plus. Serving times, delivery fees and terms apply. See app or mcdonalds.com for details.
Experience life in the fast lane on an unforgettable trip to watch the Grand Prix in Qatar. Listen to Talksport Drive all next week from 4. Record the fastest lap time in an F1 trivia time trial. And take the checkered flag to win a once-in-a-lifetime Grand Prix experience in Qatar, including 5-star accommodation, flights, and 2 exhilarating trackside tickets. It's wheel-spinning winning when we play Life in the Fast Lane on TalkSport with Visit Qatar. Feel more in Qatar. On DAB+, online, via the TalkSport app, and on your smart speaker. EFL Live on TalkSport 2.
Well, half-time at the MKM Stadium in Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Another game that's currently being played in League 1. The last time I checked, it was Peterborough who are winning. Yeah, Cambridge United 0, Peterborough 1, 64 minutes gone there, so they're already well into the second half. And of course, coming up from 3 o'clock, it's Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest, exclusive to Talksport 2. You can't watch it on telly, you can't listen to it anywhere else. Alongside me, Nigel Adderley on commentary with former Wolves striker Chris Iwelumo. And Chris, you said in the commentary there you felt West Brom were the better team, and you know, after 20 minutes that was the first opportunity, that shot that hit the crossbar, and then a decent save by Allsop.
Yeah, it was. You know, I think it's real quality, but it's how the game plays out. You know, I think Tom Fellow's causing all sorts of problems, brings it across to John Swift, and you know what? There was pace on the cross, so he's just trying to get any connection. Probably got too good a connection that it comes off the bar. But I think the way that Liam Rosenior sets his whole side up, you know, the full box, the full backs, they bomb forward, leaving holes in behind, and I think that's where Carlos Corberan is set to, like Dean Gannon and Tom Fellows, especially on that attacking right side. But two fantastic goals, isn't there, John? You know, this is what the game is delivered. Cavallo for Hull City receives the ball 23-24 yards at an angle and just puts everything through it. I think Palmer's unsighted a little bit, but gets a hand to it. But there's so much movement on the ball. It's a wonderful strike from a very, very talented player. Now they're so fluid going forward, Hull City, and they play through the thirds with place, all 1-2 touch stuff, but good energy and intensity. But West Brom were dealing with it and being a threat themselves.
Yeah, when you look at the Carvalho goal, obviously we know what he can do. He's scored a couple of goals in his 7 games so far, so that's 3 and 8 now, already halfway through this game. I'm looking at the defenders there and thinking, why are they leaving him so open? I know obviously the goalkeeper, at first I thought, you know, the goalkeeper could have done better, but as you say there, you watch the replays, it's dipping, it's all over the place, and by the time he's even seen it, it's gone past him. But I just feel that you can't give Fabio Carvalho that much space when we know what he can do.
Well, it came from a corner, John, didn't it? So, you know, as soon as the ball it gets put down for the corner, West Brom as a defensive unit set up as a corner, and that's where it's just the intelligence of the likes of Zaruri, Giles and Carvalho down that left-hand side. Quick corner was taken. Straight away, West Brom from their corner set up, then have to go and try and stop that. Carvalho's not a threat from that area. You're thinking, he's got a wonderful strike. You can't allow him to get a shot from anywhere around the 18-yard box, because he can do exactly what he's done today. But I think it's just he's got that space, because I've done it myself. I've had a responsibility from a corner kick. I go back defensively, get into my position. All of a sudden, there's a quick corner. You're not marking your man. The space, marking the space doesn't do anything. You have to be switched on all the time. And yeah, that is an error from a defensive point of view from West Brom.
And that's why most clubs have set piece experts now who work with them both defensively and attacking. When it comes to the equaliser as well, 42nd minute Furlong header. I mean, actually at first, I thought I said an all right header, but he's done very well there to get it in from the position he was in.
Yeah, as a concern, every ball that's coming into the Hull box, it's always a West Brom that's getting there first, and they're alive to the second phase as well. And I'm talking about corner kicks, balls coming in from just wide areas, free kicks coming into the box. They're always winning that first contact, so that's a massive concern for me. I need organisers, I need leaders from a Hull point of view. Can we be a bit more aggressive? Can we go make the first contact? Because Furlong, he posed the threat a little bit earlier in the half, and Dean Gannon nearly got on the end of it. There wasn't great pace on the ball, but I just think Ryan Allsop had gambled a little bit and thought that he's going to try and go to his near post, and was a little bit wrong-footed. A goalkeeper really shouldn't be getting beaten with the pace of the header, albeit it was he just steered it goalwards, John. So he's just got the
down
contact
into the ground as well to get the loop over. Yeah,
but that's where Allsop has to be better. He's wrong-footed. He's went for the dive. If he'd stayed on his feet there, it's a comfortable one for the keeper just to come out and take it with his 2 hands at chest height. So that's one that I know the goalkeeping coach will go through that with Ryan Allsop. But first and foremost, go and make the first contact. from a whole point of view and from a defensive aspect.
So there we go. The 2 goals from this game have come as a result of a corner. Former Wolves striker Chris Iwelumo back with him alongside Nigel Adderley for second half commentary in just a second. I think that West Brom will feel that goal was justified given they were the stronger side in that first half. Second half commentary coming up very, very soon, and then it's our exclusive game from Villa Park at 3 p.m. Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest, and calling the shots for that will be Ian Danter. Afternoon, Dance.
Afternoon, John.
Now, these are 2 teams that have, they've had a win in their last game, and they're both historic. And as a Nottingham Forest fan, and I'll hold my hands up straight away, I don't really want to live on the fact that it was quite a long time ago that Forest were in Europe, but we know what they've done back in the day, and Villa have obviously, had the news this week that they're going to be playing Ajax in the Europa Conference League, so they've made their way back to Europe, so surely Forest will be doing it soon, right?
Okay, if that's what you say.
You believe in me.
Look, it's going to take a lot of progress for any club to break that glass ceiling that those clubs in the Premier League sort of cartel toward the top. And that's credit to Aston Villa for breaking into that cartel and making a bid for top 4. Let's not forget that if they win today, Villa, they will consolidate their top 4 spot, seeing as Tottenham aren't playing this weekend, just behind them in 5th. So after the 3 home defeats in all competitions here, Unai Emery will be very keen for his club to hit their straps once again. Their points tally is fantastic at this time of the season. Their second best points haul with 49 after 25 Premier League games. They got 51 back in 08-09, but then fell off dramatically towards the end of the season, which was under Martin O'Neill, if I remember rightly, a former Nottingham Forest player and manager.
Yeah, well, I was going to say with the home form, we were talking before Christmas about how Villa, they couldn't stop winning. They weren't going to lose at home, and then they've had those losses. But they were against Newcastle and Manchester United, and obviously they're playing a team who are 16th in the table. But last week, Nottingham Forest, they beat West Ham. It's the first win for a very, very long time, and that's going to give them confidence coming into this game. And obviously, Forest beat Villa in the reverse fixture at the City Ground.
They did, and they've scored in every game since Nuno has taken charge. I was listening on Boxing Day when I was driving up to Burnley as Forest took Newcastle apart with that Chris Wood hat-trick up at St James's Park, which was a real statement of intent. Yes, it's been a bit of a struggle of late, but the win over West Ham after the home defeat to Newcastle and squeaking through against Bristol City on penalties in the FA Cup, which brings Manchester United to the City Ground next Wednesday on Talksport, which is great for Nuno that he's got a blue ribbon tie to look forward to. They've got to keep... they're looking over their shoulder what's going on beneath them, not least because we're still waiting for a date for a hearing for the profit and sustainability breaches that have been alleged against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, it's a lot over someone's head, isn't it? And I know Nuno has come out and he said that, they're just focusing what they can do on the pitch. It's not something that he can.
Well, that's all he can. Yeah, control the controllables. That's all you can do as a manager and a set of players. Let the financial aspects and let the legalities run their course.
What do you make of Forest trying to control the uncontrollables that relates to VAR and referees with the Mark Clattenburg appointment?
Perfectly entitled to do what they want in terms of employing who they want. If it feels it gives them an edge, you're looking at marginal gains. If they feel that employing Mark Clattenburg gives them a marginal gain with the advice he gives to Nuno and whatnot, then fair play. If that's the way they want to spend their money, I don't see why anybody would throw their toys out of the pram over it. Perfectly entitled to do that if they want to. I mean, let's see whether it's actually a worthwhile job that he does and actually provides something that is of use to Nottingham Forest. I have no idea whether it will work or not, but fair play for trying.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Live commentary coming up with Ian Danter, with Dean Ashton alongside him. Some questions for Dean. He was there at the 2-0 win over West Ham last week, and we need to talk about another VAR decision, which was probably the first one that Mark Clattenburg's looked at. But now let's get a quick weather report here on Talksport 2 for all the afternoon's games, thanks to Quick Fit.
Game day weather report on Talksport 2 with Quick Fit. Drive away happy every time.
Well, at 3 p.m, that game here on Talksport 2, Villa Park, Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Ian Danter, Dean Ashton calling the shots. The weather in the Midlands mild today, highs of 8 degrees, some sunny intervals as well. At 5:30, Bournemouth versus Manchester City. Manchester City have never lost to Bournemouth in the league. Updates on Talksport from the Moose, Ian Abrahams. He'll be getting a little bit wet there, I'm afraid. Light rain and light winds on the south coast, highs of 8 degrees there. Obviously, that sea breeze can be a little bit bracing, so let's hope the Moose has got his big coat on today. It will definitely have the moose embroidered into it as all of his signature range of clothing. I don't think he sells it, but there we go. At 8 p.m. on Talksport, a huge game in the Premier League. Arsenal host Newcastle. Loads of European connotations there. Weather will be partly cloudy, some light winds as well, and highs of 6 degrees. And that was today's weather report, brought to you by Quick Fit. From tyres to servicing, MOTs, brakes and more. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com to keep your car safe and match fit this spring. Selected centres only.
Game day weather report on Talksport 2 with Quick Fit. Drive away happy every time.
Well, the second half at the MKM Stadium is about to get underway here. Half-time score, Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Chris, when you're looking at what needs to happen in that second half, I mentioned there after I let you go earlier that you did think that West Brom would feel that they were due that goal, having been better in the first half. What can you see developing as the second half goes on?
Chris, just not here at the moment, John. It's
Nigel, I'll take it from you as well. You've been watching that game in great detail as well. Did you agree with Chris that West Brom were the better side?
Before the goal, I thought they were, yes. I thought that Hull have sparkled fitfully, but there have been opportunities for West Brom. We saw the shot from Wallace come back off the crossbar. Of course, Allsop made a decent save. But I think both teams are just lacking for that authentic central striker. And while I think Hull possibly have the greater quality on the field, we've seen individual moments so far, like the goal. And I think West Brom have been a more cohesive unit. But there's been an opportunity for Liam Rossini to maybe tweak one or two things as West Brom re-emerge for the start of the second half. And I think it will be interesting to see when we may see someone like Billy Sharp to give Hull that attacking focal point, or possibly Andreas Weimann for West Brom as well.
Yeah, they both certainly know where the back of the net is. You're listening to Hull versus West Brom in the EFL Championship here on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. It's 1-1 at half-time, and calling the action in the second half, former Wolves striker Chris Iwelumo is alongside your lead commentator here on Talksport 2, Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, John. There don't look to be any changes from either side at half-time. So a reminder of the two teams again. Hull, Allsop in goal. The back four, Coyle, Jones, Greaves and Giles. Philogene, Seri and Morton in midfield, with Zerari and Carvalho supporting Amor in attack, although Amor has been used very sparingly as the false nine. Similar story for West Brom, really. Palmer in goal, Furlong, Kipra, Peters and Townsend. They're back four. In midfield, it is Mowat and Yakuzlu. Wallace has been the main central striker, supported by Fellows, Diangana and Johnson. But of course, we've seen a goal from an attacking midfielder and a fullback so far, which Chris Iwelumo was maybe symptomatic of the issues that both teams have at the moment.
No, definitely. You know, I think you look at the quality you've got, especially wide areas, balls coming in. You want an out-and-out striker to go and be able to attack that and pose a threat.
Here is Wallace now with a cross into the penalty area, which was deflected right through the 6-yard box. It's eventually cleared away at the far post by Giles, but again, had there been a central striker there, Albion would have scored.
You're spot on. And this is what I think when you've got good technical players that can do a job in that position, but they want to come, they kind of get sucked out of position, attracted to the ball, and they're not stretching the pitch, which creates space for others. But then when there's moments like that there's a ball going across the 6-yard line, central of goal, that's where you are as a striker. That's where I would want to be.
And the shadows are creeping across to those in the Chris Chilton stand on the far side. Increasingly small strip of sunshine illuminating the playing surface down the West Bromwich Albion left as they attack from left to right in the second half. Johnson coming forward now down their left, looking to attack Coyle on the edge of the penalty area. It comes infield, right foot shot from him though has been blocked by Morton. But Carvalho, in its attempt to spin away from the challenge of Mowat on the far side, has run the ball straight out of play, and it will be a throw to West Brom. 90 seconds into the second half on Talksport 2. 1-1 here at the MKM Stadium, and it's good to see this ground very close to capacity once again. We've been here in recent years with 14, 15,000 here. It's been a fairly gloomy place, a fairly subdued place to watch football, but a very different story now.
Well, Nigel, just going down there just to get a coffee, it is rammed.
It used to be empty. It
is absolutely packed down there.
And we get a fantastic panoramic view of West Hull from our perch here high at the back of the West Stand. on a clear sunny day. Fairly still as well. We can see the wind farm up on the hills way beyond the city centre, and all of those wind farms are stock still today, but the conditions here are absolutely perfect. And so far we've seen two teams trying to play football in inverted commas the right way, and although we've had a lack of opportunities from central strikers because there haven't been any, the overall spectacle's been pretty good.
Yeah, I think very attractive on the eye, isn't it? I think playing through the thirds, different styles but both very, very effective. What's impressed me more is both teams out of possession, Nigel. I think a real understanding, a lot of work has went on the grass to implement and for them to have an understanding, and then in that transition I think both teams have been very good as well.
And it's back again with Ryan Alsop. I think both goalkeepers will look at their role in the goals and not be too happy in it. Maybe both of them failed to move their feet sufficiently. Palmer to deal with a long-range shot from Carvalho, and Alsop to try and keep out the downward header which bounced into the ground in front of him from Furlong. And in particular, Alsop did rather seem to have feet of clay for his involvement in the equaliser very soon after Fabio Carvalho had scored the opening goal. 4 minutes into the second half as Wallace is beaten to it on the halfway line by Greaves. Important challenge from the Hull central defender. Now Seri exchanging passes with Morton, and it's wide towards Giles on this near side again. Zerari back towards Giles, and here is Greaves. And Hull having to be patient here as Yakuzlu comes in with a challenge from behind, and he collapses to the turf to protest to Stephen Martin, claiming he got the ball as he went straight through the back of Seri. But if you do complain like that, and if you do go in from behind like that, it is always going to be a free kick.
Yeah, it's a free kick. I think there is contact with the ball. Now, what I don't understand here is, Steve Martin's made his decision. Yakuzlu has said something to Steve Martin, the referee, and he's walking away. It's done. Steve Martin then comes back. So has he said something that's warranted a discussion? That's where a referee, in my opinion, has to just bring out the card for dissent. Let's nip it in the bud. There's no room for it. It doesn't change anything, but players have to get it right, come to the realisation that the referee is in charge.
Well, we have played 5 minutes in the second half here on Talksport 2, and it's still 1-1 as it was at half-time. Both teams trading goals late in the first half here. Hull, the side who were briefly ahead, and these sides are point apart, 5th and 6th in the playoff zone in the Championship, which just highlights the importance of this match, with Preston closing in on the top 6 themselves with a victory yesterday, as Philogene has been caught by Peters midway inside the Albion half, wide on the far side, the Hull right, and it will be a free kick to the Tigers.
Yeah, again, I think player how he manipulated the ball, knew the challenge was coming, just gets the ball out of the way in time, but knew was protected for the fact that they're that far ahead. Nigel, as soon as he receives the ball, he's got an idea of where he wants to go, what's in the box. A fantastic technical player, Philogene.
And it's a free kick for Hull on the far side, and Zerari will take it, and it's short towards Seri on the edge of the box. He lofts it high, and goodness me, he almost caught the goalkeeper out. I thought he was trying to cross it, but Seri may have been going for goal there. It was heading towards the back of the net, and Palmer backtracking had to tip the ball over the top.
Well, it's an excellent opportunity, isn't it? Seri came from nothing at all, had Alex Palmer scrambling a little bit there, and then, like you say, it's coming down just under the crossbar, so the goalkeeper has to make a decision. Good strong hand out for a corner.
And Zerari will now try his luck from this side, and it will be an in-swinging ball into the penalty area. And if Seri had scored there after what he's done recently on the international stage, that would have brought the house down. Zerari's corner into the box causes one or two issues at the near post as it's flicked on before it's guided away by Mowat. But here is Zerari again with a high diagonal ball towards the far post, and Philogene has been penalised for some pulling back on Townsend, and it will be a free kick to Albion inside their own penalty area.
Yeah, silly one, isn't it? You know, I think just make sure there's a lot of distance to cover, a lot of room. Philogene, you know, you can receive a yellow card for something as petty and for nothing as well. It's in the opposition box, furthest distance from your own goal, so there's no need for Philogene to foul there.
It's laid off on the far side by Johnson. He was caught as he tried to find support, but now Johnson is moving forward, but sliding in with an all or nothing challenge was Greaves, and Greaves plays it all the way through, and it's gathered again by Alex Palmer. And there was just a sense at times that this game is really on the edge. The importance of it has been epitomised by one or two last-ditch challenges, particularly in the second half, which has certainly got the crowds back up at times. Fellows with another excellent cross into the penalty area. It drops on the far corner of the 6-yard box. It was such a good delivery, but again, nobody there to attack it, so it was completely wasted.
Well, it's a great cross from Tom Fellows, and you know what? He receives the ball right on the line of that attacking third, and then basically just does a little step over, gets that yard, and it's an excellent ball in. Jed Wallace is at near post, but the whole 6-yard area is empty and actually bounces a foot from the point of the back end of the 6-yard box. You know, that's where someone's got to be coming in. It makes no sense. Okay, Michael Johnson, whoever it is, I'm looking at Mowat. Can Mowat make it? Even Townsend, you know, someone's got to break their neck to get at that back post area. It's an excellent cross, Nigel.
But in the end, it comes to nothing, and it's another waste. And we've seen that for both teams, although Hull have not tried as many crosses into the penalty area, but Albion here are playing with two orthodox wingers, as Carvalho now lifts it over the top looking for Omar. Palmer outside his penalty area will hammer the ball away to safety, and it's a real shame in some respects that Albion have got this quality in their delivery, because it's maybe one of these games where they'll never be able to do as well as they've done in this game again this season, but there's nobody there to finish it off, and people will say they've offered nothing. They'll look at the stats, but the reality is they've offered a lot, but there's other parts of the game that are letting Albion down.
Yeah, spot on. And even when Jed Wallace is in the wide areas, it's the exact same deliveries coming in. They just need that out-and-out striker that's only desire is to score goals.
Hull have won a corner on this near side, and it's played short to Zerari from Giles, and Zerari hammers the ball in off the body of Furlong, and it will be another corner here to Hull City. 10 minutes into the second half on Talksport 2. 1-1 at the MKM Stadium. And Zerari again with another in-swinger. Palmer comes to fist the ball clear. It goes straight up into the air. Nodded down by Coyle. Greaves was almost in there. Now Coyle again, 25 yards out. Dinks it back in towards Greaves, who tries to nod the ball down, but he's beaten to it. But then Giles wins it from Wallace on this near side. Omar back towards Giles. It stood up towards the edge of the 6-yard area. Headed clear by Peters, but the pressure continuing here from Hull. And it's Coyle again finding Giles. Giles with a low bouncing ball into the area. Jabbed away by Peters, but it's gathered by Seri. Seri back to the halfway line, and Coyle, and Hull keen to keep the pressure on here, with Albion very, very deep. Every single blue and white striped shirt is well inside their own half at the moment. Ryan Giles finding Abdul Qadir Omar. But the press comes from Albion. They gradually funnel out up to the halfway line, and it forces Hull back, and Albion will regard that as a bit of an escape, because Hull there were keen to put the pressure on, but again, I sound like a stuck record, but it's that lack of presence, because that is the issue of the game.
Yeah, but they're still scoring a lot of goals, Nigel. That's what I'm saying, but they're up against a very kind of well-drilled side.
Well, the back pass towards Palmer does well to sweep the ball away under pressure from Carvalho, and it will be a throw-in on this near side for Hull. And both goalkeepers are really on their toes here. We're talking about the lack of central striker, but there are players coming in with that high press from absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, they are. But I think both keepers have shown, especially today, very comfortable in possession. Eric Peters there, it was a terrible back pass, but like you say, I think Alex Palmer comes out and deals with it. I think anticipates that there's a chance that it could happen. But I have to say, like, both teams are scoring goals. So I understand that what we're keeping nailing that home, that having an out-and-out striker that only is going to stay in the box and be aggressive and what you get on the end of crosses is a priority. But they're still doing enough to win this game, and I've got to say that's both teams.
Well, it's now been given up by Hull inside the Albion centre circle, an infringement. It will be a free kick, and we played 13 minutes in the second half here on Talksport 2. Hull against West Brom, brought to you with McDonald's. An order Muck delivery on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. As Albion try and come forward now with Townsend down the left, but he's challenged inside the penalty area by Coyle, and eventually Coyle was fouled by Townsend. No hard feelings between the two fullbacks, and it will be a free kick to Hull deep inside their penalty area. Don't forget, coming up at 3 o'clock here on Talksport 2, Villa against Forest with Ian Danter and Dean Ashton from the Premier League, and Arsenal against Newcastle, live and exclusive to Talksport at 8 o'clock with Sam Matterface, Faye Carruthers and Scott Minto. And we have the Carabao Cup final on Talksport tomorrow at 3, Chelsea against Liverpool. FA Cup action Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, plus West Ham against Brentford on Monday night. Monday night football on Talksport at 8 o'clock from the London Stadium. But so much live football to come next week. We're at Coventry on Monday night, Blackburn and Luton on Tuesday night, plus commentary of England women against Italy women, as Furlong is challenged and fouled on the edge of the penalty area on this near side, and it will be a free kick to West Brom.
Yeah, I'm watching that, Nigel. I don't think there was a lot in that, albeit you look at Furlong's body language, he just kind of waved to the referee with the finger, saying that it was wrong. He's entitled to go for that. Both players, and it was Greaves and Furlong going. I think it was fair and correct on both players' point of view. Just Furlong got the advantage.
Nearly an hour played here on Talksport 2. Bright sunshine in West Hull, and the floodlights are shining brightly here, and all of the floodlights in this stadium, particularly on the far side, almost look as though they are looming up from behind the stand to peer over the top and see what's happening inside the ground. As it's played forward for Hull down the right, Coyle lays it off for Philogene, and now there is space and time for Greaves, and the home fans around us in the main stand appreciating the way that Hull are trying to spread the play, but the ball forward from Sorari was initially cut out but quickly won back by Amor. But here is Townsend on this near side. Look to the referee, believes he was pulled back, but the referee tells him to get on with it, and Hull will get on with it. In the centre circle now with Jones, lofted forward looking for Morton, but headed away by Mowat. But once again, there's not really the outball for West Brom. When they look to turn the ball over quickly, they're much more effective trying to build through the thirds, as it's played long downfield for Hull, but Furlong does well to chest it down, play it back towards Palmer, who under pressure from Carvalho plays it long up towards the halfway line.
Yeah, I think Furlong there kind of seen the danger in behind. Both the centre backs received the ball. You know that they've got a lot of confidence in Palmer, because I don't think it was an excellent ball from Furlong back to Palmer there, but he's comfortable both feet. I just think they need to be better in those positions, West Brom.
And Hull, a team who've won at both Leicester and Southampton, but they've also been beaten on 5 occasions here, and they've got some big games coming up. They're away to Coventry in March. They're also at home to Leicester. Big game next week now when they go to Preston as well. And in April they travel to Leeds, and And they also have a home game here against Ipswich, which will be absolutely huge. And of course you will follow the best of the action here on Talksport 2 as Hull come forward now with Zerari down the left-hand side, cuts infield towards the edge of the penalty area, loops into the path of Fabio Carvalho. Now Seri on the edge of the D, plays it wide towards the right-hand side. A chance for the low shot in from Philogene from the edge of the penalty area, but it's gathered well by Alex Palmer.
Well, it's an excellent break, isn't it? And in numbers as well, real good quality. Zuri linking up with Seri there, goes out to Philogene, and I've got to say, if Alex Palmer doesn't get down to that and smother it, that's just sneaking into the bottom left-hand corner. He just never had the right connection, Philogene, but like you say, what the goalkeeper, didn't he?
.62 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. So if it stays like this, Albion will remain a point clear of Hull, who would move 3 points away from Preston just outside the playoff places. Changes now for both sides. Aaron Connolly has come on for Hull City to replace Abdul Kabir Moore, and for West Bromwich Albion, Adam Reach also comes on and he replaces Tom Fellows.
Like you say, just fresh legs, isn't it? Technical players and comfortable. You know, Fellows for me, that's a good player. He's doing a lot as well. You know, in the age, I don't understand the change. I'll be honest with you, Nigel. I don't understand what he was bringing to the game. A little bit quiet second half, but still he has moments of quality.
Now Carvalho, and Connolly has gone forward as the nearest thing that Hull have to a number 9, as Philogene tries to pick his way through the bodies on the edge of the penalty area, but it's cleared away by Townsend. 64 minutes played here on Talksport 2, 1-1 between the Tigers and the Baggies, as it's played away by Allsop towards Seri on the edge of the penalty area. Connolly does have 8 goals this season, but hasn't scored since December. Of course, came through the academy and burst onto the scene with Brighton. I remember him scoring a couple of goals against Spurs in the Premier League as a teenager, and he looked to be the next big thing, but it never quite happened for him there.
Yeah, good player. You know, I think he does everything well. But like you say, I think just injuries, and it's part and parcel of the game. You know, you have to make sure that you're at your best. But he is a threat. Scores all different types of goals.
Here is Jacob Greaves, plays a long ball forward now, looking for the run of Zerari, but it was overhit on this occasion, and it's claimed by Alex Palmer. And Hull do have goals all over the team. Jacob Greaves, who we mentioned there, scored both in the recent victory at Huddersfield, his only goals of the season. Everybody chips in with 6s, 7s and 8s, and it's a similar story for West Bromwich Albion. And you look up and down the Championship really, and there's not anyone who's got an out-and-out prolific goal scorer this season. Maybe Southampton are the closest to it. Yeah,
I think for any team to have success, I think goals have to come from everywhere. I know in all the teams in my promotion campaigns, it wasn't, the strikers. It's
somebody would score 25 goals. Now Connolly released by an excellent flick from Carvalho on the edge of the penalty area. Connolly was out-muscled by Kipra. No free kick given, and Reach will bring the ball forward now for West Brom, playing on the right, so of course very much left-footed. He will have to always come back in field.
Yeah, but that's it. This is knowing your opposition player, knowing what area to kind of direct him in. But I thought Kipra there was an excellent defensive challenge. Well, strong, kept possession of the ball, and then in that transition tried to play out as well.
John Swift and Andreas Weimann will be coming on soon for West Brom as well. So Carlos Corberán really showing his hand here in terms of his attacking resources as we approach the midpoint of the second half here. It's still 1-1, and he will know the importance of a victory here today, because it would move them 6 points clear of the chasing pack outside the top 6. I mean, they began this game 12 points behind Southampton. I don't think West Brom believe they'll be finishing any higher than 5th. It looks like 2 from 4 for automatic promotion, then 2 from 5 for 5 and 6. As Wallace now breaks into the penalty area, tries to pull the ball back for Reach, but in the end the cross was deflected by Coyle and it loops into the arms of Allsop.
Well, that's a massive opportunity there, Jed Wallace, and I've got to say Jacob Greaves, he doesn't just throw himself in, he runs along with the side of Jed Wallace with 10 yards on the angle from his own goal. Timely challenge, and then the deflection just takes it into Allsop's hands comfortably.
Now Yakuzlu plays it forward towards Diangana, slipped down the centre looking for Johnson, who'd made the running field from the left hand side, but he can't gather the ball, and it's back with Allsop once again. But it remains a really watchable game of football here, and we often see matches in the chases for promotion and playoff, and in particular if teams are fighting relegation, to be a bit dour and a bit cagey. And this has been anything but. Two teams who know that the best form of defence is attackers. Connolly now chases a long ball forward, but again, good covering from Peters to come across and make the challenge and hoof the ball into touch on this near side.
Yeah, again, just like you say, that intelligence, you know, seen the danger, came across, helped his partner out there. Excellent movement. I think he's took a solo as well there, Eric Peters.
Grady Diangana is coming off, and Jed Wallace is also coming off, so he will hand the armband on to Connor Townsend. Wallace didn't look the happiest when he came off against Southampton live on Talksport 2 in the 2-0 loss last week, but he's put a shift in today in an unfamiliar position. Applauds the supporters on his way towards the technical area.
Yeah, well, he hit the crossbar, didn't he, Jed Wallace, with that little kind of Tom Fellows cut back, you know, just the connection, got too much on it. So it's he's, like you say, he leads the line, he's a captain, he leads by example, and they had that massive opportunity just there, but he was still looking very mobile and decent, doing his job defensively as well, but he was always a threat in possession.
Well, we've seen 2 goals here today, which will benefit LGBTQ plus charities being supported by the Football League and Puma during this spell in the season where the rainbow ball is being used, the new official match ball carrying the iconic rainbow flag, and it's being used in 76 games across last weekend and this one, a symbol of the sport's solidarity with LGBTQ plus diversity and inclusivity. 21 minutes to play here on Talksport 2, 1-1 between Hull City and West Bromwich Albion, so it will be as you were in the lower reaches of the playoff places if it stays like this. The value of a victory for Hull is absolutely huge. Connolly now at the far post looking to head the ball towards goal. He did well, he's not the tallest, but he rose above Furlong, who's already scored with a header in this game, but guides the header wide.
He just finds the right positions, doesn't he? Aaron Connolly there. In wide areas, his movement, he's on the move all the time, but he just kind of hangs into that little back post area there and had to be defended or he's going to get an opportunity at goal.
And we have 20 minutes to play here. It is Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1 in the Sky Bet Championship on Talksport 2. Coming up at 3 o'clock, Premier League action from Villa Park. It is Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest. As we said, back in the day it was Hugh Johns. Today for us, it's Ian Danta.
No pressure, Nigel. Thanks very much. No changes for Aston Villa for this game today from their win at Fulham. As for Forest, one change. No sign of Nuno Tavares in the matchday squad at all. Moussa Niakate comes in. It may well be that Forest go with 3 at the back today. We will soon find out. Me and Dean Ashton on commentary. Build-up starts straight when you're done at the MKM. It's Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest.
Cheers, Dance. 21 minutes to play here, and it's 1-1 in the Championship. Two teams hoping to join either or both of those sides in the Premier League next season. Albion currently in their longest spell outside the top flight since 2002, of course, relegated in 2018, had that playoff defeat to Aston Villa. And then they did go back up briefly for a season in 2020, but in the end it all ended in relegation and disappointment under Sam Allardyce, as it's clipped over the top again by Seri, looking for Greaves, who heads it across the face of goal, nodded further clear by Townsend, and now it's played back by Johnson towards Townsend again, and it's now hooked forward towards the halfway line, but Reach doesn't have the pace to get that. And Adam Reach, playing on this near side, the right, really looks like a fish out of water, because There are not many better left foots in the Championships, but there are not many more one-footed players than Adam Reach in the Championship.
Yeah, I have to agree. You know, but like you say, I think it was something that you mentioned earlier on about playing on the opposite side for the players to come in, and you know, he has that quality. He scores goals, Adam Reach. He's got that physicality about him as well. So I think, yeah, in good possession, as in now, the little bit of link-up play. That's a terrible set, isn't it?
Swift tries to nod it back to Reach, but really short-changed him. And here is Morton for Hull. Wide towards the far side and Coyle. And Hull here looking to build up to the big finish in front of another big crowd here. 24,420 against Sunderland on Boxing Day, the biggest crowd here this season. Not quite as many as that here today, I don't think, as Zerari comes forward now. All of the Hull fans behind that goal on their feet, but the cross in is over the head of Connolly, and it's claimed by Palmer comfortably.
Yeah, end product though. You know, Zeruri getting himself in good possession. Tettle, he's comfortable. He's driving. He's taking around 2-3 players there, all for the end product for the ball to come in the box. Yeah, but like you say, Alex Palmer comes out and claims that one. But it's end product. It's balls going into the right areas. And like you say, if you do that enough times, you know, one's going to fall right for you.
Now Connolly again, challenged from behind by Peters, but no free kick this time. Reach into the feet of Mowat, who lays it off to Swift. Swift now looking to drive forward. He's been caught by Seri. That will be a free kick just inside the Hull City half. Swift tried to hurdle the challenge, but Seri just went in a bit higher and made sure he wasn't going to stop.
Referee, a little talking to. Wouldn't be surprised. I think a yellow card should probably come out for that one. I think Swift knew the challenge was coming. But like you say, I think Steve Martin he's let it go, hasn't he? He's let it flow, the game.
No yellow card so far, as it's played short towards Swift on the edge of the penalty area, quickly wide towards Furlong, the Albion goal scorer. Back in field again. It's all very tight as Mowat and Yakuzlu become involved. Now Furlong down the right again, looking to find Swift, trying to create down the centre. Plays the 1-2. He claims he was caught as he tries to fasten onto the return ball from Weimann, but again, no free kick given. But Albion do maintain possession here, and it's Mowat, Yorkshire born, finding Townsend, and now Peters. 15 minutes to play here on Talksport 2. These are big moments in the season for both clubs. 1-1 the scoreline. Now Johnson, who had a very bright start to the game but has rather faded for West Brom and has barely had a pass in the second half.
Yeah, well, I think it's the way that Hull have come out the second half. You know, probably a little bit more pragmatic in those full-back areas. You know, it's leaving it to the offensive players to be the creative.
Here is Reach now, down the right-hand side, tries to pull it back into the penalty area, but it's blocked by Greaves, and it's spun behind for an Albion corner.
Yeah, much better there, West Brom. Adam Reach, yeah, no fear in trying to whip it across with the right there. Jacob Greaves had to go in and make that defensive challenge, and I've got to say, you know, outstanding defending again. Doesn't throw himself in, make sure, can he get closer, edges closer every little bit, and then timely challenge it was.
Mowat, 1 or 2 boos for the former Barnsley player, and he will take the corner kick, which will be an in-swinger on this near side for West Bromwich Albion. They scored from a similar situation in the first half, and we're getting to the stage of the game where a goal now may well turn out to be the winning goal. And Stephen Martin just sorting 1 or 2 things out deep inside the 6-yard area. And it's Cedric Kipre who is towering over Louis Coyle in that position, looking to hold off the Hull City right back. And it's Mowat's corner, high in towards the near post, and it's claimed unchallenged by Allsop.
It's excellent goalkeeping from Ryan Allsop, but I've got to say, what a wonderful corner that was. You know, right at that near post area as well. Someone's got to come across and just get some sort of little slight contact. Great goalkeeping.
Early release from Allsop as well, trying to find Fabio Carvalho on the far side, but he's held up by 2 Albion players, and ultimately West Brom have a throw-in on the far side. And again, I think it's been a more pragmatic second half from both teams.
Yeah, well, I think a lot was put into it. You know, I think energy levels, especially after the distances travelled as well. But I'm looking at, you're talking about Ryan Alsop there, his distribution I think has been outstanding today. When it can go, he puts it, but again, more often than not, Liam Rosenior wants him playing out from the back. But you know what, Carvalho there asked the question in behind, and it was excellent from the hands as well from Ryan Alsop.
And Johnson tries to bring it forward for Albion on the far side. There will be more changes now for Hull. Another Turkish international, Ozan Tufan, will be coming on, and Regan Slater will replace Jean-Michael Seri. He's been through a lot in the last month or so. The emotional roller coaster of life in the Ivory Coast squad at the African Cup of Nations, when they came back from nowhere to win the tournament on home turf. Regan Slater will come on to slot in at the base of midfield, having been left out today. And Ozan Tufan, who does have 7 goals this season, he will replace Anas Sarari, and 5 of those 7 goals have come here at the MKM Stadium.
Well, it's good quality coming on, isn't it? You know, again, it doesn't change anything about the formation or what we're going to see in brand of football. You know, very, very good technical players with energy and technical quality as well.
Throw in on the far side for Hull. 12 minutes to play here on Talksport 2. Villa against Forest coming up at 3 o'clock. Arsenal against Newcastle over on Talksport at 8. Game day live with Adrian Durham, with all the goals as they go in underway now on Talksport, with the Carabao Cup final, Chelsea-Liverpool, coming up at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and FA Cup action across the Talksport network Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Now, the Talksport network is the only place to enjoy all of your footballers. Alsop clears the ball away again, resplendent in pink in the sunshine. Now Tufan, wide to the far side, and Philogene coming in field from the right-hand side, tries to slip it through towards Fabio Carvalho. Kipra inside the box, unable to make the challenge, but shepherds Carvalho outside of the area. But here is Coyle, and now Morton, and infield towards Tufan, and it's laid off to Philogene, who rides one challenge on the edge of the penalty area. And here is Giles now, back towards Philogene again, right foot shot off the inside of the post, but it's still loose inside the penalty area, and it's over the top from Fabio Carvalho. But Jadon Philogene inches away from winning the game there.
It's outstanding play, isn't it? We're looking at Philogene as well. I've got to say, I thought the shot, I think it was Tufan, could have taken a shot on. He's given it back to Philogene. He's opened up 20 yards from goal. A lot of bodies to go through, but like I said, he'd beaten Alex Palmer there off the post. And then Carvalho, I think he's got to take that first time. When he takes his touch and tries to open the goal again, the defenders closed it, tightened the angle. Alex Palmer's on his feet again. I think he's just got to try and control, pass that into the back of the net. And he's let West Brom off there. But excellent quality from Philogene there.
10 minutes to play, and both teams have now hit the woodwork inside that penalty area to our left. 1-1 the scoreline. Peters wide to the far side, and Townsend. And Albion here having to be patient, but that's a dreadful crossfield ball from Mowat. It seemed destined to head it out of play, but Furlong did well to come back and win it. And eventually he wins a throw-in, but Swift will give the ball away, and Hull will try and come forward again here. And both teams have made their defensive changes. Albion may be looking to ready another one here. I think Semi Ajayi might be coming on soon. So whether they will slot in an extra central defender, I'm not too sure, to try and have what they hold at 1-1. It's played forward again up towards the edge of the penalty area for Hull, but then it breaks down, and Mowat has been caught by Greaves, and it will be a free kick.
Yeah, it's a sore one there. Mowat's felt that. Greaves, yeah, he had to challenge, but I just feel that, yeah, West Brom are kind of going through a little kind of tricky period just now, really under pressure, so they've got to kind of manage the game. Yeah, he sets them up to defend well, but it's important they try and get that a little bit of control back. I think they've got to be better in possession. it's a little bit more frantic, and then they come alive when it gets into the attacking area, where West Brom is a little bit more controlled, possession based.
Now Furlong looking to win a corner kick on this near side, but in the end I think he slipped as he tried to cross under pressure from Carvalho, and it will be a goal kick with 8 minutes to play here on Talksport 2. Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. So there was an opportunity for Southampton to move clear, but it's been given away as Hull try and play out inside the penalty area. And here is Reach now. Left-footed curler from him. Hits the inside of the post. Swift on the rebound. It's kept out by Allsop. And Albion hit the inside of the post as they go for the winning goal. And somehow Allsop kept out the rebound from Swift.
Well, Reach does everything right. Just tries to bend it into that far left corner. Comes off the post. Comes back to John Swift. The exact same as Carvalho. He has to just pass it in to the near post. And it was going wide anyway. I don't even think Ryan Allsop had to get a foot on it. I think the shot from Swift was going wide. He's got to just find the near post there. Make sure concentration on the contact and just punch it into that near post. Empty, and an open goal it was, Nigel.
Changes now for West Bromwich Albion. Nathaniel Chalabar is coming on along with Semi Ajayi. Eric Peters is coming off, so it's a straight swap, and Mikey Johnson will be replaced by Nathaniel Chalabar, which is a way of Carlos Corberán just stiffening up the midfield, although Swift could go over to the left-hand side. Of course, Reach could go over to the left-hand side, although coming in field from the right, he almost produced the go-ahead goal there for West Bromwich Albion with 7 minutes to play. But both teams have had chances to win it late on here.
Yeah, I think both going for it. You know, I think you're making defensive, but like you say, Semi Ajayi, come on, he's an aerial threat as well. Can he get on the end of something?
Now Tufan has lost out to Swift, and Chalabar's first touch sees him quickly robbed by Slater, as 4 of the replacements in the game are heavily involved. But now Morton plays it wide to the far side, and Coyle. Philogene coming in field from the right again, throws a couple of step overs. Now Jones on the edge of the penalty area. Morton wide towards Coyle. The early cross in deflected off Kipre, and it evades about 3 players waiting at the far post. But here is Giles now by the corner flag on this near side, and he's got support from Slater. Slater quickly slid in towards Morton, lofted over the top towards Coyle on the far side. He goes down inside the penalty area as he tried to head the ball forward, but there were no appeals and play continues. But Tufan has quickly won the ball back from Swift, who has gone across to the left-hand side for Albion. And now there's the opportunity for Hull to keep this pressure on with 5.5 minutes to play. Slater back towards Philogene, and here is Greaves to bring it forward now. Wide to this near side, and Giles. Giles slipped in towards Philogene, who spins away from the challenge of Chalabar. Now Morton, so tight on the edge of the penalty, but flicked forward by Chalabar, and the shot delivered towards goal, but the flag was raised for offside. It was Greaves who hit the ball into the ground, but in doing so it almost bemused and evaded Alex Palmer, but it wouldn't have counted anyway.
Well, it's a great little flick from, I think it was Conley there, with the heel, but Greaves found himself in behind. I think the flag went up very, very early. He struck it well, but what a great save from Alex Palmer, who was already on the ground with a strong right hand.
22,654 the crowd here today, and that's some improvement on the average of under 18,000 last season. And the fans who've come here have seen an entertaining game which both teams could have won and may yet win. As it's quickly played forward again for Hull. On the far side, they're right. And Hull are looking to ask many more of the questions in the closing stages. Carlos Corberán, incredibly energetic on the edge of the technical area, all arms and legs, but Liam Rosenior is a more languid presence to his right. Different sort of coach, but then again he suddenly turns out to be a jack in the box as well. Well, I wonder, Chris, if it stays like this, whether both teams might regard this as 2 points dropped. Or a point gained.
I think both a point gained, especially at this time. Now, two teams on good form, both trying to still go on and win the game. You know, the games come thick and fast, Nigel. You can't sit and worry about, have we lost 2 points. This has been an excellent game of football.
Now Sami Ajayi, who really came to prominence in Yorkshire with Rotherham before moving to West Bromwich Albion. But he's found starts harder to come by in recent times, only 9 this season. Chalabar plays it forward, good ball as well. Furlong is onside down the right, low cross into the penalty area just beyond, a lunging Swift at the far post. Townsend though will keep the ball alive, he cuts it back to Swift inside the penalty area. Vyman waits, Swift though may go for goal. Swift does go for goal, but he gets right underneath it, right footed, and it's high over the top.
Well, I've got to say, what a ball that is from Furlong there. You know, just plays it in with pace as well, between the last defender and goalkeeper. And I think it's Vyman or Swift at the back post there that's tried to slide and just get any contact to steer it goalwards. What an excellent ball. Excellent ball.
2 minutes of normal time to play here. 1-1 at the MKM Stadium. 1 or 2 people beginning to drift home, but not too many, because they know this looks to be the sort of game with a twist in the tail at the end. Furlong will take a throw in on this near side. And the Albion supporters willing their team on to what would be a very good point away from home. And after 2 away games, 2 long journeys, Plymouth on Tuesday, Hull on Saturday, I think 4 points will be a very good return for them. Yeah. But now Townsend has given the ball away. Philogene will find Ozan Tufan in the central area, 30 yards from goal. But Chalabar comes in with a challenge, and it's quickly played forward to Vyman. Vyman, no real support, driven wide by Greaves, and in the end all he can do is coax the Hull central defender to give away the throw-in. But that was applauded by Carlos Corberán, and we are into the 90th minute here. Villa Forest coming up at 3 o'clock here on Talksport 2. And we will begin our build-up as soon as this game finishes. Ajayi quickly playing it forward, it's left by reach, and here is Vyman now, away for West Brom on the edge of the penalty area, and he tries to go for the chip, but it barely left the ground, and it's straight into the arms of Allsop.
Yeah, you know, I knew exactly what he was trying. He's seen that Allsop was off his line there. I think he can pass that one in. I think he's tried to just kind of dink it, scuff the ball, but he's that far out, and Ryan Soap, he'd left a lot of distance between himself and his goal there. I think Vyman can just try and steer that round him, pass it round him with a little bit of pace, but wrong decision in the end. But again, just a threat. They're going for the win here, Hull City, and they're definitely leaving holes in the defensive unit.
Now Swift plays it wide towards Vyman. Albion coming forward on the break again. A minimum of 3 more minutes. Furlong coming forward now, low into the area, looking for Vyman at the near post, but it was overhit, and it's claimed by Allsop.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good break, isn't it? Like you say, Hull are going for the win. I understand it, but I think they've got to have that understanding as well to say, you know what, we're happy with a point here. We've just had 3 away games on the bounce, and we've won all 3 of them. We've came home. The last time they lost out here, wasn't it? Swansea, last home game here.
Rare win for Swansea recently. A couple of pigeons disturbed up in the eaves of the main stand here. Just fly right in front of our faces as Hull bring it forward again here. Jones wide to the far side, and Philogene. And now Slater. And Albion suddenly get very deep, almost playing 5 at the back, with Yakuzlu dropping in as the 3rd central defender at times, certainly when they don't have the ball. Greaves' ball forward was deflected, then cut out. All Greaves can do is run it out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Albion with 90 seconds of added time to play here.
See, I love that. Liam Rosenior, Jacob Greers had mistimed the ball, the flight of the ball, comes off his chest, goes out for a throw, and right on the halfway line when Hull are on the front foot to try and win the game. Liam Rosenior straight away comes out, hands above the head, claps, shouting to the players to get into position, straight away, taps Greaves on the shoulder. It's just fantastic man management, isn't it?
Absolutely. And he does really seem to be on the players' wavelength, which will help any dressing room. Furlong now coming forward for Albion down the right, finding Reach, who hit the inside of the post a few minutes ago, and he's won a throw-in, and that will give Furlong the opportunity to hurl this ball high into the box late on. He's actually moving the advertising hoardings back on this near side to give him more of a run-up. This could be the final chance. Every single Albion player is forward here, but eventually Connor Townsend will retreat to the halfway line. We've seen Albion caught out in this sort of situation late in games recently.
Yeah, when you've got the players with attributes that they have, make sure it's the first contact. If you're Hull City defending this, it's be aggressive, make sure you're organised, you're communicating, but you've got to make sure that the first contact is won. If not, you have to be alive to the second phase, Nigel.
20 seconds of normal time to play. Furlong winding up for the long throw into the near post, flicked on by Ajayi, but he can't find a teammate, and it's run clear now by Philogene on the far side. Excellent recovery challenge though from Swift, who does well to play it back towards Mowat, and now the space for Chalabar on the left hand side, and that is it. An excellent game of football, a point apiece in the end. Both sets of supporters rise to acclaim their teams. They've given absolutely everything here today, but it's a result which eases them further clear of the pack, outside the top six in the playoff places. Both teams scoring late in the first half. Fantastic long-range effort from Fabio Carvalho for Hull, equalised by Darnell Furlong's downward header from a corner just before half-time. Both had their chances late in the day, both hit the inside of the post, but in the end it is a share of the spoils on Humberside. It is finished. Hull City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1.
Thank you very much, Nigel Adderley, from Wolves striker Chris Iwelumo alongside Nigel there. And there's one thing you can say about teams that are trying to get promoted out of the Championship to the Premier League, and that is that they don't stop. Even though it's 1-1, a point is decent, still going for it right until the end there.
It was an excellent game, wasn't it? I've got to say, some real good quality from both sides, with and without the ball, and you're spot on, John. Usually, and I think you can see that from both managers. Usually the players, you can see one side will kind of be a little bit deeper, defending a little bit more, but in the transition both teams were going for it there, leaving holes in behind it. Sometimes you've got to take the gamble. That's how important it is to get 3 points, even in the position that they're in. They want to try and consolidate those playoff places, put more pressure on the teams chasing. An outstanding game of football.
Yeah, and Hull City have actually broken that record of winning and then losing, then winning, then losing. I think it was 8 times or something like that at home with that draw there. And look, I'm looking at the pictures here in the studio, and Liam Rosenior has got a big smile on his face. It sounds like the fans there are just really, really enjoying this wave that they're on there, and it's just such a good match. I do like it when former players come back and they do a great job when they're in the dugout.
Yeah, he's had to work hard for it, I have to say, John. I think he's came back. It's been a slow process. You could see what he was trying to do towards the end of last season, albeit he never had the players. But they're exciting to watch. That's why they're trying to win games. They've collected more points away from home. That'll be a concern from him. You pick up a few more points here at home, then you're right in the mix, aren't you? And it's all about going into the playoffs, obviously getting to the playoffs, but going into the playoffs in good form as well. So every game matters, and having the fans behind you is a massive positive. Yeah, with the fortnight they've had to take 10 points out of 12, you can't really complain with that. But that's why he's smiling. But they have to go again.
Absolutely, and they will go again on Friday night here on Talksport 2 at the Hawthorns. You're going to be there, West Brom hosting Coventry, and actually a day later it's teams all playing each other that are vying for the promotion places, or more realistic maybe the playoff places there, with Hull playing Preston. So I mean, looking at the table now, I mean, you can't really, it's too early to even decide, and that's what's so beautiful about the Championship, right? Because we can look at Leicester and say, look at the massive lead they had. Well, that's been cut to 6 points already. So then it brings Ipswich and Southampton into the conversation for the automatic promotion places again. And then you have these teams here who are slightly further behind, who are trying to get those last two playoff places, West Brom included, Hull, Preston, Coventry, even Norwich as well there. It's the perfect way. I mean, the Championship does it every year, doesn't it? But when you look at the games that are coming up for both of these sides, it's going to be tough to displace teams like, Southampton and Ipswich, but you've got to watch your backs as well with Preston and Coventry, who've looked impressive this season.
Well, this is what the Championship delivers season in, season out. This is why we are so fortunate, John, that we get to come and broadcast this to the nation, to the world. So all games are important, especially now. You can't slip up. You have to have a certain character. You have to bring those levels. The bar's been set now. So now it's just about consistency. Doing whatever it takes to go over the line and get the points on the board. And I mean, if you have to slug it out, you slug it out. If you're dominant, you have to take your chances. You have the small margins. And this is something that Liam Rossignol was alluded to in that period, December, January, when they only had one win in, I think, 7-8 games. They were small margins away from going on an amazing run, and that's exactly where they are at the minute now, unbeaten in 4.
Yeah, and small margins as well, I mean, between these teams here. So West Brom stay 5th, Hull City 6th, points ahead of Preston there, 4 points ahead of Preston, and obviously they're playing a little bit later on, and we'll keep you across all of those results across Talksport and Talksport 2. Thank you very much to Chris Iwelumo and Nigel Adderley there at the MKM.